Hi, I'm Flavia.
And I'm Andy, and we are The Firm, your real estate concierge.
We help our clients buy and sell real estate in Wisconsin. Today, we are going to talk about inspections.
Inspections, everybody's favorite topic. When we look back on any transactions that may have fallen apart, where the seller had to go find a new buyer, inspections is very often one of the reasons why the transaction didn't happen, right? So, but it is natural, Flavia, right, when we buy a house that we want to know what the condition is and be aware of any defects that there are, right?
Right. And are you going to review any key to write a great offer by the end of this video?
Absolutely. So we're gonna start by talking about why the inspection contingency is a little bit scary if you're the seller. What kind of concerns that the seller may have. And if you stick around to the end, we're going to give you some tips on how we can write an offer that takes away some of that fear, some of that concern that the seller may have, so that the rest of the details of our offer help take it over the top and we can win that house, even when there's competition.
Right.
So, Flavia, what is the actual meaning of a home inspection contingency?
Well, it's there to protect the buyer, right? And the buyer is telling the seller, I'll buy your property only if there is no defect. Of course, there is right to cure and no right to cure, so we can talk more in detail.
Sure. So what is the number one concern? And we talked about this in some of our previous videos. What are sellers worried about when they're looking at our offers? Obviously, they want to get the best price, but let's say everybody offers the same price. What are the things overall that they're worried about and that they're trying to avoid when they're looking at your offer?
So there is a big risk for sellers. Of course, they do a condition report that disclose everything they know about the house, but there are things that they don't. It's natural. So they're afraid to renegotiate the price, do repairs that were not counting on doing or they didn't know that was there, or the buyer can simply walk away from the
Wow.
transaction.
Right. So what every seller wants when they accept your offer and they take it off the market, they want that security that the price you said you're going to pay is going to be the final price, that they're not going to have to invest more money into repairs, and that you're not going to walk away over something and mean they're going to have to go find another buyer, which means they lost time. They could lose 2, 3, 4 weeks on the market, and that could cost them money. So um, what are some of the ways that we can soften that inspection contingency? Does this mean if we want to win a house, we should just take the inspection contingency out of our offer?
No, we never recommend that or tell our clients to do that. But there are ways to make it more predictable what we are going to do.
Mhm.
So we can talk about
Yeah,
that in the end of the video.
I, I really like the word that you use there, because if we give the sellers an offer where the outcome is predictable,
Hmm.
um, then that gives them security and it takes away some of their concerns. So let's just say, well, first of all, we said that the inspection contingency promises to buy the house. It says we promise to buy the house, but only if there are no defects. How often is there no defects in a house? When we
Zero.
have the inspector come, they give you that report. Usually the report is 30, 40, 50 pages long, right?
Hmm.
I think Flavia's told me before that she had one house in all of our years that we were working together that there was no defects. So it's a very, very powerful part of the offer. So what we can do is we want to maintain that protection that this contingency offers to our clients, you, the buyer, but we also want to make sure that the seller understands that it's only there for major issues or something like that. So if there's that uncertainty and we want to remove most of that, one of the biggest ways we can do this is to tell the sellers that we're going to accept the first, let's say, $2,000 worth of defects as is. let's say that there's 5 things wrong with the house, but if you look at the cost of repairing all 5 of those things, it adds up to be about $3,000. Uh,
Mm.
we can actually tell the sellers that, look, we're just going to ask you to make this $500 worth of repairs. What it does is it protects the buyers from, okay, let's say the chimney repaired for $10,000 that they didn't know about it. Um, but at the same time, it tells the seller, we're not going to nickel and dime you over, every little outlet in the house that might have a reverse polarity or something. Not that those things aren't important, but if you're in competition, it's a very good idea to signal to the sellers that, hey, we're going to buy the house more or less as is unless we find something major, so that we're not going to be in a bind later.
And especially in the when the buyer cannot go in the high price, so they can accommodate a little bit in the inspection, for example, like that $2,000, because they can do that repair over the years since they can't go
Right.
competitive with another offer that can go higher.
Yeah, so sometimes there are defects, right? There's defects that, and remember, we're always a little bit more picky about a house before we're buying it. We are about our own houses after we've been there for 10 years. Um, and partially because, you feel entitled to buy something that's good quality. It's understandable. Something that's small that bothers you the day you move in, you don't even remember it a couple years later. So my point being, if there are some defects that aren't safety related or super urgent, um, you can spread the cost of that out over the next couple of years as you make improvements to the home. We're not telling people to ignore or buy houses that have major defects, but we are just saying that if you're in a competitive situation, it's a better idea to really focus on protecting yourself against the major problems. Figure out what your threshold is and what your comfort level is in terms of accepting some of those smaller defects, and that actually makes a big difference. I think that's a great place to wrap up. Just to
Mm.
summarize, the inspection contingency can be kind of scary when sellers are evaluating multiple offers, but that doesn't mean that we should always remove it because we want to make sure you're protected against major problems. We talked about one way that we can write an inspection contingency that takes some of that uncertainty away and gives the sellers confidence that although they might be on the hook for major repairs if something's to come up in the report, um, there's a good chance that we'll be able to move forward and there won't be any problems.
There you have it.
Another key to writing a great offer. Until next time, stay positive.
And thanks for watching. Ciao.